JB here. Hope everyone's doing on Friday, December 5th, 9:20 on this fine morning. Really quick rant. Talk about the market. Some names I'm looking at go from there. S&P slightly in the green here, looking to make it. Well, we'll see if we get a green week here. The S&P is up about a little over a 10% for the week. Not much away the catalyst yesterday. It was kind of like a choppy session, a quiet choppy session, right? Markets hit highs. Uh, I think it was like 11 or so. Chopped the highs, and then in the afternoon there was a little pull, maybe around 2 o'clock, and then that was it. And then S&P found a bid, and then markets closed pretty much right where they opened. I think the SPY closed like 4 cents away from where it opened. I don't know if we're gonna have a duplication today. PCE data, which normally is out at 8:30, I have no idea why it's out at 10 a.m. Makes no sense to me. But PCE data is from September. I mean, I know check your calendar; it's December. So not only that, so if you think it's September data, it's already backward looking. So uh, will be interesting to see what happens if there's any kind of surprises on the data. If it's hotter than expectations, if it's cooler than expectations, or substantially, will it even matter? I don't think it matters, but gives some things to the market to talk about. But outside of that, all eyes are on the Fed meeting next week. So that'll you would think 100% probability of a rate cut. The market's pricing it's like 89% now. Why? So the probability went from like 90% yesterday to 89% today because of the weekly jobless claims, which came in at 2.5-year lows yesterday. So now you have that argument around the jobs market being the reason that the Fed is going to cut rates. And now it's like, oh, wow, jobs market may not be as bad as everybody's talking about. But we'll see how this. For now, it's tough to tune out all the noise and just find opportunities. And that's kind of what I'll continue to do. That's overall market. So and just really fun thing to look here. This morning. I think I tweeted it, posted here, but the accumulated deficit, right? It's always funny people talk about the. I remember back in the day, it was Amazon, right? And you take a look at Amazon. I think at one point Amazon had like a $1.8 billion accumulated deficit. So the accumulated deficit is pretty much just the money they've lost. So every filing since inception, they'll have the amount of money they lost, and I think it was 1 point something billion. I have to go. I used to have a chart that showed the accumulated deficit of Amazon. And I remember looking at an article and someone wrote about that. And then the actual gain of the stock since then. And it's like, if you're buying Amazon when their accumulated deficits at a high, you're going to lose out. Or you're going to miss the big gains. That's when there's so much, there's the risk, right? It hasn't been de-risked. And I mean, all seriousness and, joking aside, you look at OpenAI, just crazy to think possibility to forecast $140 billion of losses until they start to turn the corner. The thing is, I mean, well, we'll have to see how this all plays out. Those are all scary numbers and charts to look at until we fast forward 10 years from now. What the whole landscape looks like, maybe that'll seem like nothing. But fun charts. All right, so that's overall market. 679 to 683 was the start of the week. Now 683 to 686 on the spot. That's what we're watching here today. 686 probably a little tough nut to crack. Can we get over that? Maybe we get new all-time highs next week. All right, that's overall market. Just quick on individual names. Obviously, just quick on Serve Robotics. Great 2-day rally, right? Up another 10% yesterday. Kicking myself for closing those December 12 calls. I shouldn't say kicking myself, but when I entered those strikes the previous week, I got the Decembers and the Januaries so that I can close the Decembers and hold the Januaries, right? So I don't miss out on the FOMO. So that was the plan, and the plan happened. It's just the hold, which is always the hardest part of the option, is if I had just held them, they'd be 700. I think they're up 1,000% at times. But anyway, I'm looking for March, still looking for more January and March strikes. I'll continue to be patient. This morning, they announced expansion into Fort Lauderdale. They already have a Miami rollout. The thing is, I kind of hate news on a name that's in the midst of a run. And it's not a huge news, right? It's just kind of like, okay, we knew they're doing more expansion. So it's good news, but sometimes it's like it takes the momentum away. Hopefully that's not the case. 1375, the big spot. If it finds strength after the open, maybe it's 1330 or so. I might finally pull the trigger on getting some more. I'm thinking January 20s maybe, and then maybe possibly March 25s. Those would be the strikes I'm looking at. All right, Serve Robotics, monster run this week. Deck, I was on the rant yesterday afternoon talking about Deck. I've been off and on trying to close those 105s for 100%. I had them on the ask, 70 cents. The ask was 70. Didn't get any fills. Then finally, yesterday afternoon, I kind of made the decision, okay, I'm going to try and take some off at least to cover cost, because you never know. Could be a downgrade, could have some kind of move, and then the premiums are gone. So took off some of the deck calls at the end of the day for 70%. I'll hold the rest. And then I put on the watches this morning. You start looking at that move down from earnings, 100, I think it's 190 is that $100.90 is that gap fill area. So Think that's the next target. If it finds some strength here today, maybe I'll look for some January strikes, 115, 120s. Uh, Love the deck story. SanDisk, I had on watch this yesterday morning to get some lottos. Should sitting at $200 after the open yesterday. I'm looking at the 220s. I'm like, 90 cents too expensive. And then by 11 o'clock, it's all the way up at 215. Kind of kicking myself. Then you see that news that Micron's getting out of the generic memory storage. I think that was some of the news. Anyway, I thought maybe if it got digested overnight, there'd be a gap. So I almost got the 230s. Thankfully, I didn't get those. It's in here at 212. So we'll see today. Maybe there's some opportunities to play for upside. So I'll be watching that for some possible lottos. Lemonade looks like it's breaking the top of that flag. So if this starts to break, you have to think, gosh, maybe it's set off for that move to the triple digits. So I might get some strikes here today finally. Let's see, 90s. Yeah, rare earth. Rare earth is not my thing, right? I wish I could get bullish rare earth names. That's just not my I don't know how to put it, right? I don't play the MPs and all those, especially some of those names that I would say it's almost like the market has been mispriced because of the government investment or what have you. Kind of like misprices some of these things. That's why Intel for me is like tough to trade because of the intervention, right? Uh, on the flip side, I love Oracle, and I would love to try and trade Oracle. And I was watching this morning. I think it's a 218. What is the stock was at 345 back in September. Doesn't mean, wow, you see it's down here at 220 or 219 and say, wow, it's a buy. But I tried to play lottos 2 weeks ago, I think, on a Friday. Um, you have to think at some point maybe it bounces. What was the chart at the start of the week? Credit default swaps. Do I have this chart up here? I think I do. Yeah, this is Oracle at the start of the week, right? So I don't know if I'll try lottos here today. The thing I put on the watch list, like it's been a great week in the last couple of weeks. The worst, well, not the worst thing, but I hate having a bad taste in my mouth playing lottos on a Friday and then ending the week on a low. So I might not be as aggressive doing some lottos unless I have high conviction, right? I'm not going to just trade to trade. Obviously, I'm not going to not do a trade, right? Because every trade you enter has the possibility of losing, right? But I might be less apt to get a position unless I have a very high conviction. All right, 3 minutes to open. I'll be back on audio later. Let's have a great day. Rock and roll.